I'm Caleb Oblitas, and I'm the 1AC.
Good morning, I'm Dallas Kowalski, the 1NC.
Good morning, I'm Ethan Wade, the 2AC.
Good morning, I'm Kai Venegas, the 2NC.
Are the judges ready? Is the timer ready? Negative team? Good morning. My partner, Ethan Whaley, and I, Caleb Oblitas, stand for the resolution that the U.S. should change its penal code to abolish the death penalty. Observation 1. Definitions. Definition 1. Death penalty. Death as a punishment given by a court of law for very serious crimes. Source, Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Definition 2. Murder. The unlawful premeditated killing of one human being by another. Source, Oxford Languages. Definition 3. Mental illness. An illness that affects the mind. Source, Cambridge Dictionary. Definition 4. Penal code. A code of laws concerning crimes and offenses and their punishment. Source, Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Definition 5. Erroneously. In a mistaken way, incorrectly. Source, Oxford Languages. Observation 2. Harm 1. Harms. Harm 1. Innocent people are murdered. Statistic. The Death Penalty Information Center has published a list of 20 cases of executions within the last 40 years with strong evidence of innocence. Source, forensiccolleges.com. Summary. Innocent lives will be saved. Harm 2. The death penalty is cruel and unusual because it does not always work the first time. This violates the Eighth Amendment. Statistic. The death penalty violates the Eighth Amendment because it is estimated that 3% of U.S. executions in the period of 1890 from 2010 were botched. In the 2014 book Gruesome Spectacles, Botched Executions and American Death Penalty, Austin Serrett, a professor of jurisprudence and political science at Amherst College, describes the history of flawed execution in the U.S. during that period. Serrett reports that over those 120 years, 8,776 people were, and 276 of those executions, or 3.15%, went wrong in some way. Source, Death Penalty Information Center. Summary. The death penalty violates the Eighth Amendment. Harm 3. The mentally ill are murdered. Statistic. Mental illness and cognitive disability among those sentenced to death, the rates of which are very high among death row populations. Source, forensicscolleges.com. Summary. Many mentally ill people are wrongly killed by the death penalty. Observation 3. Plan. Mandate 1. Change the U.S. Penal Code to abolish the death penalty. The agency is the U.S. Department of Justice, and the enforcement is also the U.S. Department of Justice. The funding will come from the funds that are already used to carry out death penalties. Observation 4. Advantages. Advantage 1. Innocent people will not be murdered. Over 200 people have been exonerated since 1973 from death row. Source, Death Penalty Information Center. Summary. Innocent people won't be wrongfully killed. Advantage 2. Nobody will be executed unconstitutionally. Statistic. It is estimated that 3% of U.S. executions in the period from 1890 to 2010 were botched. Source, Death Penalty Information Center. Summary. The death penalty violates the Eighth Amendment. Advantage 3. Mentally ill will not be killed. Statistics. Some death Some defendants are so mentally ill as to lack all understanding of their crime and its consequences and may be considered mentally incompetent. Source: Death Penalty Information Center. Summary: the life of the mentally ill will be preserved. In conclusion, abolishing the death penalty is the only way to prevent bias in its application and ensure that no person is executed by the government erroneously or unconstitutionally. Therefore, my partner Ethan Whaley and I, Caleb Oblitas, urge the judges to vote for the resolution that the U.S. should change its penal code to abolish the death penalty. Thank you. I am now ready for cross-examination.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What was the source for harm 2?
It was Death Penalty Information Center.
And what was the source for the quote at the end?
At the end of the constructive, do you mean?
Yes,
Sure.
the conclusion.
That quote is not from a source. That is something that I wrote.
No further questions.
Are the judges ready? Is the timer ready? Affirmative team. Good morning. My partner, Tyson Venegas, and I, Dallas Kowalski, stand against the resolution that the death penalty should be abolished. That the U.S. should change its penal code to abolish the death penalty. Quote: when someone takes a life, the balance of justice is disturbed. Unless the balance is restored, society succumbs to a rule of violence. Only the taking of murderer's life restores the balance and allows society to show convincingly that murder is an intolerable crime that will be punished in kind. Death Penalty Information Center. Observation 1. Definitions. We accept the affirmative team's definitions. Observation 2. Harms. The affirmative team said that claims of innocence are... the affirmative team said that innocent people are being killed. However, we say that claims of innocence are misstated. Quote: in virtually every case, anyone allegedly exonerated has merely succeeded through a procedural mechanism that in no way calls into question the person's actual guilt or innocence. Source: Pennsylvania District Attorneys Association. Summary: not all people who are taken off death row are actually innocent. Harm 2. The affirmative team said that the death penalty is unjust and goes against the 8th Amendment. We say that it does not. Quote: for justice to prevail, some killers just need to die. Source: Death Penalty Information Center. Summary: the most evil crimes deserve the ultimate punishment, which is death. Harm 3. The affirmative team says that mentally ill people are killed, but we say if there are mentally ill people killed, it is a very small percentage. Quote: imprisoning mentally ill criminals is also wrong, but we cannot empty the prisons because of that minimal risk. Summary: we cannot abolish the death penalty just because of a few mentally ill criminals. The affirmative team said that they're going to change the penal code, but we say that we should not, because mentally ill criminals are not being sentenced to death, and it's an effective deterrent, and that the death penalty does not go against the 8th Amendment, and that it is humane. Observation 4. Advantages. The affirmative team said that no more innocent people will be put to death, although we say that the fact that there are cases being reversed shows strict scrutiny of the courts. Quote: The reversal rate is an ideology anomaly, not a sign of genuine error rates. Source: Pennsylvania District Attorneys Association. Summary: the courts are too strict to let innocent people be put to death. Advantage 2. The affirmative team said that the death penalty goes against the 8th Amendment. Although we say that although victims and the victims' families cannot be restored to the status which preceded the murder, at least an execution brings closure to the murderer's crime. Source: Death Penalty Information Center. Summary: people will not be okay knowing that the person that killed their family member is still alive. Advantage 3. The affirmative team says that the death penalty does kill mentally ill people, but we say that it does not. Quote: the mistaken release of guilty murderers should be of far greater concern than the speculative and heretofore non-existent risk of the mistaken execution of a mentally ill person. Summary: there will be more mentally ill people killed if the murderers are set free. In conclusion, judges, I urge you to reject the affirmative team's resolution and maintain the status quo. Thank you. I now stand ready for cross-examination.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What was your source for harm 1?
Pennsylvania District Attorneys Association.
Do you agree that mentally ill people are being killed?
It's not my opinion that matters.
But did you say it in your constructive from any of your sources?
I believe so.
But did you not say at the end of your constructive that they weren't being killed?
Could you repeat that?
Did you not say at the end of your constructive that mentally ill people weren't being killed?
I said that there's a risk of mistaken executions of mentally ill people.
Did you say that all people released from death row are not innocent?
No. I said that not all people taken off death row are actually innocent.
I have no further questions.
Are the judges ready? Is the timer ready? Negative team? Good morning. My partner Caleb Oblitas and I, Ethan Whaley, stand against the resolution that the U.S. should change its penal code to abolish the death penalty. In the negative team's harms, they stated not all claims of innocence are true. However, we believe that is not true. Innocent defendants are convicted of crimes they do not commit. It is now clear that the innocent defendants will be convicted and sentenced to death with some regularity as long as the death penalty exists. Source: Death Penalty Information Center. Summary: innocent people are sentenced to death. In their harms, they also stated that the death penalty does not violate the 8th Amendment. However, we believe it does. The death penalty violates the 8th Amendment because it does not always work the first time. In some cases, it requires multiple attempts. They also said that the number of mentally ill people on death row is very small. However, we believe this is false. Mental illness rates among those on death row is very high. Source: ForensicColleges.com. Summary: mentally ill people should not be sentenced to death. In the negative team's plan, they stated that the death penalty offers deterrence. However, we believe there is no true evidence that it deters crime. In their advantages, they said that the courts are too strict to let innocent people die. However, on average, 4 people have been exonerated from death row each year since 1973. Source: Death Penalty Information Center. They also stated that people will not be happy that a killer is still on the streets. However, we believe they could be sentenced to life imprisonment, and then they would not be around people. They also said more mentally ill people die if they are set free, if criminals are set free. However, if they are in prison, they would not kill people. This is why, in conclusion, this is why my partner Caleb Oblitas and I, Ethan Whaley, urge you to vote again for the resolution that the U.S. changes penal code to abolish the death penalty. I am now ready for cross-examination.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You said in your introduction that you stand against the resolution. Does this mean that you agree that we should maintain the status quo?
No, I believe I misspoke.
No further questions.
Are the judges ready? Is the timer ready? Affirmative team. My partner Dallas Kowalski and I, Kai Benegas, stand against the resolution that the U.S. should change its penal code to abolish the death penalty. George W. Bush once said, "I support the death penalty because I believe capital punishment is a deterrent against future violence and will save other innocent lives." Observation 1, harms. The affirmative team said that innocent people die because of the death penalty, but we say that they don't. Quote, "There is no proof that any innocent person has actually been executed since increased safeguards and appeals were added to the death penalty system in the 1970s. Source: Death Penalty Information Center. Summary: there is no proof innocent people are being killed. Harm 2. The affirmative team said that the death penalty violates the 8th Amendment, but we say that it does not. Quote, "For the most cruel and heinous crimes, the ones for which the death penalty is applied, offenders deserve the worst punishment under our system of law, and that is the death penalty." Source: Death Penalty Information Center. Summary: the worst criminals deserve the worst and most humane punishment. Harm 3. The affirmative team says that the death penalty executes mentally ill people, but we say that it does not. Quote, "The death penalty is needed for families to not live in fear of the criminal getting out of prison." Source: procon.org. Summary: even if some of the people on death row are mentally ill, they still killed someone else and deserve punishment. Observation 2, plan. Let me state our concerns with the proposed plan. The plan does not work because innocent people are not being killed, it does not violate the 8th Amendment, and mentally ill people are not being executed. Observation 3, advantages. The affirmative team says that innocent people are not being killed, but we say that the affirmative team says that innocent people are being killed, but we say that they are not. Quote, "If it can be shown that someone is innocent, surely a governor would grant clemency and spare the person." Source: Death Penalty Information Center. Summary: if there were innocent people on death row, they would be spared. Advantage 2. The affirmative team says the death penalty violates the 8th Amendment, but we say that it does not. Quote, Any lesser punishment would undermine the value society places on protecting lives. Source: Death Penalty Information Center. Summary: the death penalty is the most humane punishment that would ensure justice. Advantage 3. The affirmative team says that mentally ill people are being executed, but we say that they are not. Quote: the reversal rate is an ideological anomaly, not a sign of genuine error rates. Source: Pennsylvania District Attorney Association. Summary: the courts are too strict to let mentally ill criminals be put to death. In conclusion, Abraham Lincoln once said, "Those who deny freedoms to others do not deserve it for themselves." Judges, we urge you to reject the affirmative team's resolution and maintain the status quo. Thank you. I'm now ready for cross-examination.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you tell me the source for your first harm?
Death Penalty Information Center.
When was this article published?
I do not have that information.
Did you say the death penalty is the most humane punishment?
No, I said that the death penalty is the most humane punishment that would ensure justice.
What is the source for your first advantage?
Death Penalty Information Center.
And is procon.org a trustworthy website?
I believe so. I don't know exactly.
No further questions.